Welcome to Wilton Town Talks. I'm Nate.
I'm Ian.
This is Tammy, our guest.
Welcome, Tammy. God. Who is Wilton Go Green?
Sure. So Wilton Go Green is a 501c3 nonprofit that started in Wilton in 2010 by a really engaged group of citizens who wanted to help kind of broaden the sustainability initiatives within the town. So I have been president for the last 6 years.
Wow.
And yeah, excited to be here.
It's great. So what should you recycle and what shouldn't you recycle?
Yes, this is the age-old question about can I recycle it or can I not recycle it? And so I'm really excited today to talk a little bit about what's called the What's In, What's Out guide, which is up on our screen. This is the universal guide for the state of Connecticut about what is actually allowed to go into your mixed recycling bin, whether you have someone private hauler pick up at home or whether you go to the town transfer station and drop off your mixed recycling. And the way the state created this guide is they actually met with all of the waste hauling facilities who own material recovery facilities where your recycling goes, and learned about what was working, what was not working, and also what has value. When we think about recycling, the goal of something to be recycled is to get it to be turned into something new. It's not just about feeling good about putting it in your blue bin, but it has to have an ultimate goal. So the items that made it on the What's In, What's Out list on the in are what acceptable in your blue bin or your mixed recycling, because there is a market on the end for them. They're acceptable materials. There is a market for that material. So this guide is available to any resident. They could download it off the hrra.org website, print it, and have it at home. And I wanted to take a little bit of time to kind of point out a few things on the list, because many people grew up, especially my age, we all grew up learning about certain numbers of plastics that are acceptable or certain items, and that's not really the case anymore. We want people to understand that it's about kind of cartons and containers, and not about looking for numbers or the dreaded recycling symbol, which I'll get back to. On this list, they separated out by material. And a couple things that I want to point out that people generally get confused about. One is pizza boxes, right? That is the one question where people firmly believe they are not recyclable or firmly believe that they are no matter what. That is one where there's a little nuance. So if you have a pizza box and at the bottom is cheese and sauce, there's food in it, so it is not acceptable for recycling, right? The trick is your recycling bin should never smell. So you need to be rinsing material, not making sure there's any food in it. So if your pizza box has a little grease, it's totally fine, but if there's food in it, it has to go back into your trash. On the What's Out list for paper, which I brought a couple examples, people don't realize that a lot of these paper takeout containers are actually trash. They're not acceptable.
That's really surprising.
It is surprising because I think for people, we feel like, well, it's not a plastic container, so it's better. But these are listed as takeout food containers on the list. But really what I tell people is if there's anything that's paper that you're using single use, so even if it is a paper cup, a paper plate, a paper bowl, or a takeout container like this, it's just the wrong material for paper mills to make new paper. And so they do have to go in the trash. They are coated with a lining that is mostly plastic, and it just makes it hard for those paper mills to make new paper with them.
What about paper bags?
So paper bags are okay. Your traditional grocery store paper bags or your little brown lunch paper bags are okay. You'll see on there I keep pointing up there, but I apologize. On the What's Out list, gift bags are out. Most gift bags usually have lots of string on them or glitter or some kind of decoration, so those would go into the trash. So those are paper. And then if we go to the glass, food and beverage glass is acceptable. Again, you want to rinse it out, make sure that the sauce isn't on there. Wilton's transfer station has a separate glass separation program that residents are participating in, and residents who aren't part of that program can participate in. The issue with glass is that as it breaks in the trucks and in the machinery, it gets really small. And so the little rule that's not up there that I want to share with folks is basically at the facility where your recycling goes, the first thing they want to separate out is broken glass, and that's supposed to fall through these small 2-inch holes. Well, when you start to put anything that's really small in your mixed recycling, that also falls through these 2-inch holes. And then you get a lot of glass with contamination in it that doesn't get recycled because it's so dirty. So we like to share with the people the 2-inch rule. Basically, if it's going to fall through a 2-inch hole, no matter what it's made out of, it has to go in the trash. So that includes things like straws. People love to tell me that, well, I've got a paper straw now, so that's awesome, I can recycle it. But you can't, because it will fall right through that hole. They're just going to go on the floor. Plastic straws go right through. We tell people always put your lids on your bottles. We don't want loose lids because they'll go through. On the list is shredded paper. No shredded paper is allowed in your mixed recycling because it falls through those holes. So keeping your recycling really big. And if it's small, it just has to go in the trash. And that is why.
What damage does, like, let's say someone recycles something that they shouldn't recycle, what damage and harmful stuff would happen? Like,
yeah, it's very circumstantial in terms of how much material gets pulled out during the sorting process. So if anyone ever wants to see how it's done, they just have to go on YouTube and type in material recovery facility, and you'll see a plethora of YouTube videos of how this machinery actually works. It is AI generated. It is very automated. There are blowers that push paper, magnets that look for aluminums, eddy currents that are looking for different metals. The AI sensors are looking for certain types of plastics. And so as it's moving at 60 miles an hour on a conveyor belt, it's up to those automations to kind of push and pull different material. So what happens is that depending on how much of the non-recyclable material kind of continues to either make its way into those other materials, we'll just do what we call lower the value of the commodity, right? So at the end you have this 1,500-pound bale of paper. If it's all paper, it's really valuable. If it's got paper with plastics and metals all involved, it just lowers its value. But most material is still sold to market, and usually at the end of the facility, you have this big pile of trash. So we really try and encourage people to just recycle what's acceptable and not wish cycle and just hope something will be recycled. Because as you see, when you look at the out list, there are things like those paper takeout containers that people feel should be accepted, but they're not, and all they're doing is contaminating a load of paper, right, and lowering its value. So that's why the list came out. So it's really important for people to kind of stick to the what's in list and make sure that they know what is acceptable or not.
Okay.
And then I have just one more thing that I want to point out, well, 2 more things. Underneath metal, it says spiral wound containers, which most people don't have any idea what that means. So I brought an example. Your typical Pringles containers, canisters, baking powder, cinnamon bun croissant rolls in the fridge section, those are spiral wound containers. They have metal attached to them. There's usually either a plastic top, there's paper on the outside, and if you look in, you'll notice that the material spirals on the inside, or it spirals when you open it. These are all trash. So because you have metal attached, you have paper on the outside, you have plastic on the inside, it's all mixed material.
Is even the lid, like, not recyclable?
The lid, as long as it's won't fit through, right?
Yeah.
Is okay. So these are spiral wound containers. So sometimes breadcrumbs, oatmeal, or other items that are these, but these are always trash. And then the last one I want to just share, which is really important, is about plastic bags and plastic film. This one I find people have a hard time understanding that when we say your recycling should be loose, no plastic bags, no plastic film, that means any kind of plastic bag, not just your typical garbage bag. So I brought a bunch of examples of what we mean by that. So our kind of just delivery service bags are those bags that should never go in your mixed recycling. Your typical grocery bag, you get groceries in. Air pillows, when we get lots of things shipped to us, they might have an air pillow. Bread bags, it's going to fall over. We have bread bags. Overwrap is what it's called. So if you get a case of water or paper towels or toilet paper, all of this, Ziploc bags, all of this material is not allowed in your recycling bin. But you can, and you'll notice on the What's In, What's Out guide, there's a little asterisk. You can collect all of this and bring it back to a retailer. And in Wilton, like Village Market, Caroluzzi's, they each have this little white plastic container that says plastic bag recycling. That's where this can go. Because there are companies that collect that material and recycle it because it's separate. So there's a company called Trex that makes composite lumber out of this plastic film,
Wow.
which is pretty cool. But it's an extra step, so you have to kind of keep it separate at home, and when you go to the grocery store every week, just drop it off inside the door.
Yeah. It was great talking to you, Tammy. Thank you for coming out here. And yeah, thank you for watching Wilton Town Talks.